Groundhog Day. Got back from Alabama just a couple days ago, our annual Alabama rut hunt, and I thought I'd go ahead and tell the story while it's still fresh on my mind. I put together some different video sets. I've got one of all the young bucks we were able to film in the woods and the patches. I've got one of the final day's hunt. That's the meat of the video package. And I've got a little segment on our rainy morning where Randy entertained us with his guitar and his voice, and it was a pretty fun, pretty neat little morning. And then I've got another set put together of just the different critters we saw in the woods and some of the trail camera data that we obtained over maybe a 5 or 6 day period. we've been hunting out there for over 30 years. We've noticed the rut has moved from mid-January back in the 80s and the 90s to the last week of January and the first week of February, present day, 30 years later. And it pretty much held true this week. Basically, when you're hunting out there, you have to kiss a lot of toads to find a prince, and so it's a numbers game. It's how many deer can you get your eyes on, and if you see enough deer, eventually one of them is going to be a pretty nice deer. In the old days, we weren't that selective, and we never looked at enough deer to get to that nice deer. So several things have happened because we've been more selective in the last few years. We see a lot more deer. The deer are not as nocturnal as they used to be. They've become more daytime oriented than before. They're not as spooky or skittish. A lot of times we would drive in and out of the woods in years past and we would never see a deer. Now when you ride in and out of the woods, you see deer frequently. And they just stand there and watch you go by. And I'm talking about the does and yearlings and the young bucks. So this year, I got a new toy. I got an e-bike, which I got specifically to hunt in the Alabama hills. And in the past, we'd use all different kinds of transportation. Cars, trucks, bikes, motorcycles, buggies, four-wheelers, three-wheelers. I took a John Deere riding lawnmower out there one time. I took the cutting deck off and used that John Deere to get around the hills. And it was a little bit loud and it tended to backfire, so it wasn't the best solution for moving through that property. But it worked. Anyway, there's a picture of it. So we hunted for a week, January 22nd and 29th, and what we saw was a lot of young bucks. Day after day, we saw a lot of deer. We would see anywhere from 10 to 20 deer a day, both morning and evening hunts. A lot of young bucks, but no shooters. Our strategy for hunting is to hunt over buck sign and on known crossings and funnels with established stands and get up in our climbers. We hunt the woods in the morning, and then in the evening we move to the green patches, the planted winter wheat and Alabama has recently legalized corn, so on a few of the patches there's corn feeders, which is a pretty good situation for selective hunting. You bring in the does and the yearlings and the young bucks, and then eventually a good buck will trail in if you're fortunate, and if you hunt the patches hard enough, you'll eventually get lucky, which is actually what happened to us.
Later, Randy. All right, we got a couple of miles to go here. Going to the creek patch. I missed a big buck there last night. I messed up. I got in a hurry, got anxious, and shot over him. And he was a beauty. So I'm going back there again tonight. Just who knows? You don't get very many chances like that, so I'm pretty disappointed. I've hunted as hard this year as I've ever hunted. I don't have a whole lot to show for it, but that's hunting. I've really enjoyed this e-bike. It's been a blast. It's just been a lot of fun. I think the last 48 hours, things have kicked off out here as far as the rut. So even though I screwed up last night, it doesn't mean something good couldn't happen again tonight. Like I say, you don't get too many chances at those big ones out here. You get about one chance, and if you blow it like I did, that's probably it. Now, this bike has been pretty handy. It's freed us up to go in different directions on the property. Watch out for these ruts. Keep one foot ready to stab onto the ground. These old roads, they've been cutting down for the last 100 years. Some of these road banks are 6-8 feet down. Nicely up the hill. Just a little pedal assist. I used to walk all these roads back here. And it'd take me 45 minutes to get around. 15 minutes with this thing. Alright. I think, let's see what happens here. Too bad. Let's see how we do on this hill here. here and walk. I shot that buck I was filming just a second ago, and I think he ran into the woods and fell. I'm waiting for my buddy to get here, and we'll check it out then. Big old 7-point.
But
No, that's all right. It's been a tough year. Hunted hard on public land in Arkansas. Had some opportunities. For whatever reason, couldn't make that. Look how these beams come together here.
yeah, he's got nice long tines.
You know, had some luck with you in Texas, and then hunted real hard in the swamp in Louisiana public land, and
Yep.
had some hard luck. And one of our group got a nice big 8-point, beautiful 8-point deer. And then we've been here in
Where
Alabama.
at in Lafayette?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. In the Louisiana swamp,
Right.
hip boot type country.
Right.
And then we've been in Alabama for a week now, you know, waiting for the rut to kick in.
Yep.
And it's like in the last day or two, things finally started to kind of happen a little bit.
Right.
Today is January 28th.
28th.
And so what makes this guy kind of interesting is I missed him last night.
Sure did. Ooh, that thing is.
Same way he came in last night, there was about 2 other young bucks and a bunch of does in the earlings, and he walked in and I just missed him. So I sat the same patch tonight.
Kind of hurried your shot.
I hurried my shot.
Got
There was nothing
excited.
good about it, and I was really angry at myself because these opportunities don't come very often. Randy.
Not
And
out
this,
here, they don't.
This is your basic, decent, you know, Alabama
Right.
buck. Certainly the best buck you and me have seen this week.
Absolutely, it is.
But he came out again this evening and did exactly the same
Isn't
thing.
that something?
All the same deer were out there, and he came walking out. And I waited till he got a little closer this time. He turned broadside, shot him, and he ran and fell. So
That's pretty.
that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Man,
I used my
congratulations.
e-bike to get here.
Yeah, that's right. This is your
The
e-bike
e-bike's
gear.
up on the hill. I have to ride it back to the camp.
Yep.
The e-bike's been fun. It's gotten me into these places real quiet.
Yeah.
Looks like he's got some mud in his feet. He's been in the swamp.
He is a swamp
came
deer.
in- The beaver pond is off here to my left. And
Yeah,
this
so
is
we-
last night we'll process him.
We got to
tonight.
clean him tonight and pack up and get ready to
Back
go
to
tomorrow.
Louisiana
Back
and
to-
Texas.
Exactly.
Thank you, Randy.
Danny, congratulations, man. I know how much that hurt. I know that hurt
It was
last
painful
night.
last night, but all that pain is gone now.
Yes, sir. Loaded up. Headed back to camp. Swing around here and get it. Yeah, that's pretty. Little horn sticking up.
That's a good look.
Who's that standing behind it?
It's a weary hunter. It's a weary.
You earned this one, didn't you?
Well, we earn everyone, Randy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. It's a good way to end a tough season.
Yes, it is. Congratulations, man. What a great deer.
So there's the e-bike, and there's the. We haven't quite figured out how to get a deer out with the e-bike yet, Randy. I don't have a trailer, and we're not quartering, and so fortunately we have this gator that we ordinarily use out here all the time. So, but the e-bike was what got me back in here quiet this evening and
You didn't know you were here?
helped me get this guy. He did not know we were there, and again, over a dozen deer in the patch when he stepped out. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a little contest, Randy. You're just going to ride at whatever your normal speed is,
Okay.
and I'm going to e-bike behind you and see if I can keep up with you.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. So we're going to see if the e-bike can come out of the woods as fast as that four-wheeler. We've got about 2 or 3 miles of this dirt road to go down. I think I can keep up with him. I think I can pass him. I raced him back, watchers. My gun's unloaded.
Oh man, good.
Can you believe he came back?
Oh no.
Can you believe he came back?
I knew he was gonna come back.
Man.
I think you're all right. Man, it's pretty. That see, that saves me from having to go down there and hunt him.
So to wrap up, the e-bike worked great. I really enjoyed it. It did really well in the hills. I went out on a couple of the mornings. It was in the low to mid 20s, and it worked great. It hauled all my gear. It hauled my climber, my gun, my pack, no problem. I will say just a couple of observations about it. You have to be careful, and it's still a bike, and it doesn't want to, do good in the ruts. You got to be careful going across the ruts or through the ruts. Keep one foot kind of ready to hit the ground and keep yourself supported if you get in a bind. The slippery mud, the mud puddles, you got to be a little cautious. I recommend going through them faster rather than slower. That just seemed to work out for me. It did make a little squeak once in a while when I got mud up in the disc brakes. It was a little squeaky, but it got up and down the hills. The battery life was great. I got in quietly to the areas that I wanted to hunt, and for a lot of the times I was able to park the bike, and I was hunting not too far from the bike, and we wouldn't have done that with the wheeler. You would park the wheeler a lot further away and walk a lot farther from the wheeler. And those deer hear that wheeler. When that wheeler cranks up, they hear it on the whole property. But when you're out there on the e-bike, they don't know you're there. And I did ride past quite a few deer, both in the daytime and the nighttime. As a matter of fact, you had to be a little bit careful that you didn't get speared by a deer, or that you didn't spear a deer as you're riding through those woods, because they panic and jump out in front of you just like if you're driving a car on the highway. So that was kind of interesting. We had a beautiful week. The weather was perfect. It got a little windy for a day or two, and we had a little bit of rain one morning, on the morning that Randy stayed in and played the guitar.
And friends are hard to find when they discover that you're down. He said, I tried it all when I was young in my natural prime. Now it's old dogs and children and watermelon wine. Old dogs and children and watermelon wine.
Just in here having a little guitar session with Randy inside the old camp. That boy can sing. Look at that big old pine. The sun's starting to shine on the top of it. Foolish pride.